You're listening to the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Now here's your hosts, Kevin, Derek, and Alex.
Righty, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. It is week 16, which you know what that means. We first round of the playoffs in the books, and we're making that march towards the cash and the trophies. I am Derek, and joined as always by your co-hosts Kevin and Alex. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing good, man. First round of the playoffs for hopefully most of everybody. Hopefully it went well for you. I know I was mixed reviews. I mean, I had mixed reviews. I had a couple where it didn't go my way. I was telling you guys just now pre-show. I got Chris Olave and Keenan Allen a lot. So a couple didn't go so well. A couple I had a bye, so that was nice. I didn't have to worry about it. But the League of Record, as we call it here on this show, the namesake of this wonderful programming that we put out to you guys twice a week, the Good Old Boys League. I was able to pull one out there and come away with the victory in week one. So I'm feeling pretty good about that one heading into the semis.
We'll talk about the shenanigans that were pulled, some of the gamesmanship that was pulled.
There was some pro moves. I'm not going to lie.
We'll get to that here in just a second, because there will be somebody on the receiving end of that win. I just went ahead and decided to. I figured I sit the playoffs out this year, give somebody else, a chance to win. So I figured, you know what, playoffs. I think if you're in the playoffs every year, it kind of gets boring. So I'm just I decided to sit this one out. I'll be back next year. Don't worry. I
have yet to be bored making the playoffs in every year that this league has been in existence.
Well, I'm just telling you, try 1 year not making the playoffs. It's quite nice. I am, however, in the playoffs and in a very good spot in another league that I'm in, not on the League of Record as we talk about here. But I'm very, very excited about that. I have a chance. I've actually never come close to winning this league. It's usually a 10-person league. This year we had to knock it down to 8 for participation, and only the top 4 make the playoffs. So finally I made the playoffs. I was the number 1 seed. That's one.
I clicked on and off. I said you could have made it 10. I said you got 2 more people right here that would have played.
It's true. I didn't. I should have thought about that.
I have a hard time saying no to fantasy football.
oh God, yeah. Like, hey, you want to play in a trash can league? Sure, never done it before, but
okay, let's do it.
Let's see what's up.
Can I win?
But we had a good time. And maybe I didn't want you guys to play, so I actually had a chance at winning it this year.
What was that whole thing about trying not making the playoffs? And
it never happens in this league, so I'm very excited about that. It was a fun weekend, and there's college football on and all this good stuff. I before we get to Derek, and maybe we should let Derek go before I bring this up. In fact, yeah, go ahead, Derek. Let's talk about the gamesmanship that happened on Sunday, and then come back to me, because I have thoughts.
Okay,
not about the NFL. It's going to sidetrack us hardcore.
Oh, you're going to send us down a rabbit hole. Okay. We'll see if that dog will hunt when we get there. Okay, so before we get there, happy YouTube or happy Instagram watching for everybody out there on the Instagram live. First time we've put a show live over on the IG, so welcome in over there. Anybody that is watching on IG or Twitter, I mean X or whatever it's called nowadays, we are unable to see the comments, things like that over on that one. Best bet, head over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@goodoldboysff, and click the subscribe button while you're there, and we can see your comments there. So, okay, now that I put our shameless plug in there, let's go ahead and talk about the gamesmanship on it. So I am going up against Kevin in the home league, and I am projected to, I'm the underdog, right? Pure and simple, projected to lose on this one. I've got to try and pull out every trick up the sleeve to try and make this thing close. And through a good portion of Sunday, I thought that we actually had accomplished something here, and that we were actually going to give Kevin a run for his money on this one. And then some players showed up, some other players didn't. He ended up, running away with that one pretty easily at the end of it. But one of the things that he did, and he tipped his hand a little bit. They had to drop a couple of defenses because they were playing Saturday. And I noticed that he happened to not have a defense on his roster. Now, our home league defense, it's not that uncommon for defenses to put up 50 to 100 points for good ones there, right? And there's a couple of solid defenses out there on the waiver wire, such as the Bears, who've been playing really well, and they had a good week, and the Jets, who've been playing very well all season long. So somebody may have added some waiver claims in there to make it to the point where Kevin couldn't do it. And somebody may have noticed that Kevin had so much fab, and they had just a little bit more fab, so they made sure to bid just enough that Kevin couldn't get his top 2 defensive picks in there. And then, with the way the waivers work, you can then drop those teams so that they have to clear waivers again to be picked up to then pick up yet another defense out there so that you can make sure that he's having to play what would essentially be his 4th choice waiver wire for streaming options on the defense side of things. And I really thought for a good chunk of the day that might actually have turned the tide on this thing. And then, he had Trey McBride show up. Brock Purdy had a really good game. Jalen Hurts had a really good game. Devin Lloyd, his linebacker, showed up, had a really good game. So he had some very, very, very good performances in the afternoon slate and Sunday night slate and Monday night slate there to certainly push him well out into a very comfy margin of victory.
So your gamesmanship, well, hilarious, and a long shot at that, didn't prevail. But I think that's really, really, really funny.
Although the thought prevailed, though. Like the defense, the defense I picked up scored 6 points. Now, again,
right,
when you're talking, like Derek said, in a league where a good defensive outing can score, 45 to 60 points, and a great defensive outing we've seen a couple different times this year touch 100 plus.
Mm-hmm.
The Dolphins put up 111 for me this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And they had a great week. That was a great week.
Yeah, and I think the Browns put up like 92.
Yeah, Browns had a really good week.
Yeah, I mean, so again,
the Bears, which were
points
a team
for everything.
Yep, the Bears, which were a team out there that I blocked him on, 57 points. Big difference between 57 and 6 points, right? Like that's a. So the Panthers, which were another team that I blocked him from being able to pick up and play on that one, they had a 50+ point performance as well. So, like, yeah, it didn't work. I can thank some guys deciding not to show up, like Bijan Robinson, and some other players out there
that's
that
Arthur
had
Smith, man. That ain't Bijan.
Well, you're right. My apologies, Bijan. Arthur Smith.
That dude's got to go.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of football teams in Georgia, which is my segue to our derailment here. Man, I don't know that I will ever be a bigger Georgia Bulldog fan than I will be when they line up against Florida State for this bowl game. Because I swear to God, if Georgia does not just beat the absolute tar out of Florida State, we're never going to hear the end of how Florida State got robbed of a national championship, right? Like, we're never going to hear the end of it. It's getting ridiculous. It is getting ridiculous. The fact that there are senators involved writing letters to the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, the fact that the governor has allocated money from the state's budget to sue or pursue potential legal action. It's college football. Okay. I get it. There's a lot of money riding on it. And for some people, college football is life. But it's college football. It's a sham anyways, right? It's a sham. They're not out there actually trying to determine the best team. We've known that for years. It's not the best team. It's what's going to put the most eyeballs on a television screen. At one point, it was just one game, but now it's for two weeks of games, right? For 2 semifinal games and 1 national championship. What's going to put the most eyeballs on a TV screen? But Kevin, if I could have you ship me some, I'm not going to go buy any Georgia Bulldog stuff because I won't wear it after whatever that bowl game is. But if I maybe I'll wear red that day, red and black, just as an homage. But holy crap, am I going to be sick and tired of hearing about Florida State and how they got screwed out of the college football playoff.
I think Florida State needs to be careful. Mainly because if you can't get past what's already happened, you are unable to prepare for what's to come.
Yeah.
Right. So this we national outlets, right? And yes, I read a whole bunch of dog homer stuff from their local page and everything else, but national outlets talking about how the coach and this team, they haven't been able to get past this. They haven't been able to shake this. You see all these issues. And this is what separates teams who are really championship type contenders and the wannabes. And it really is. Like, how do you deal with disappointment? This is the first game that any Georgia player has lost in their freshman or sophomore year. It's only their second game that they've lost if you're a junior. Like, you have almost had an entire recruiting cycle, not just for a year, but the entire cycle through your program, and you only have 2 losses. They don't know what it's like to lose, but their coach isn't letting them focus in on what has already happened. And if nothing else, Kirby will have that team prepared, and the young guys will be itching. They will, let it be known that yes, they should have been in there the best way they can, which is going out and performing. And Florida State better be careful. And yes, it's in their backyard because it's the Orange Bowl. Some of those players might have a chip on their shoulder, like, yeah, we're out to show them. But if you're not focused and you're not detail oriented, you just can't beat this Georgia team. You have to be detailed oriented to beat a Kirby Smart team. That's what Alabama is, right? Nick Saban is Mr. Details, right? This is why that they're constantly in the playoffs. That's why we've seen them win so many national titles and compete for others. It's, these national championship teams, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, LSU. LSU might have just been better than everybody else. I don't know if they're that detail oriented. They were just freaking dynamic.
Just a team full of dudes.
Right. But regardless of, yeah, if you don't have your T's crossed and your I's dotted, you've already lost when you step on the field. And we saw it last year with TCU.
Yeah.
They weren't detail oriented. They rested on their laurels a little bit. Oh, look, we beat Michigan. Yeah, we belong. We deserve. We earned this. You guys won a first-class ass kicking of historic proportions, and quite frankly, embarrassed the college football committee is what y'all did at TCU. And they were not about to let Florida State do the same thing.
Okay, it didn't derail us too much, but yeah, that's just a thought that I had.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Any news, notes, any of those good things we want to talk about before we start getting into some Pine Shine recaps?
There's a dirty hit on Michael Pittman. I can't remember the guy's name.
Wasn't it Kazim?
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, the NFL, they've made no bones about it. They suspended him for the rest of the season quick.
Mm-hmm.
They made no bones about that. They did not like that play at all. The Eagles are in a funk right now. Right. And I really thought that they'd kind of show up, and yeah, Hurts being under the weather is one thing, but I don't know. You got to find a way to win that game. You got to find a way to win that game.
Hurts wasn't playing defense there to let Drew Lock, march
go
down
92
the field.
yards.
Yeah. I will say that there's I know, like we say often, 1 week does not a season make, and that's kind of our mantra after week 1 if things don't go your way here in fantasy football. But I like who wants to win this thing now? Like in reality, the Cowboys stumbled, right? And there have been weeks where they have not looked good, right? And you don't get the opportunity in the NFL in the playoffs to have an off week. Like that's just not, or an off day. Like that's not allowed in the NBA, NHL, MLB. You can have an off day and still survive. You don't get that chance in the NFL. So the Cowboys stumbling against Buffalo, the Chiefs were in a funk up until this last week, and granted played a close game this week, right? The Eagles have now been in that funk that you mentioned. So like who's coming out of the NFC? San Francisco. Right? They look head and shoulders, right? Head and shoulders, San Francisco, right? But like they had bad weeks early in the year. They had that rough 3-week stretch there. So like I don't feel like super confident. I think of the teams remaining there, San Francisco is probably the one. But then like what's coming out of the AFC? Because the Dolphins look good, right? But what, like, it's the Dolphins or is it Baltimore? Like, do you trust Baltimore to put something together for 4 weeks in January? Like,
yeah,
that defense in Baltimore is playing something special. Playing something special.
I just think that we're going to see not what we have seen over the last 4 or 5 years, right? It's kind of been the same teams, let's say 2 or 3 years. So Chiefs, Eagles, right? Chiefs, Eagles have been there. Bills have been there. Bengals were there. Rams aren't in the discussion this year, really.
No, Niners have been knocking on the door, right?
Right.
I mean, all that. But
I think we see 2 new Super Bowl teams. We
might see the preview this Monday night.
Yeah.
All right. We got San Francisco, Baltimore on Monday Night Football. ESPN has to be salivating. Like Thursday night's crying. Like, how come we can't ever get a game this
better than Thursday night? Yeah.
And here we are. So, I mean, there's a very real chance that what we see Monday night is a Super Bowl preview. Like, I'm not believing Miami's the answer. Buffalo's finally seeming to get it going here a little bit. And they're dangerous. They're not going to be fun to face in the AFC, but they're still beatable. The Chiefs absolutely look human. I don't think anybody's really afraid. I don't think anybody's afraid of a team in the wild card run. Browns, Bengals, yes, they can put up some weeks. Houston can put up a week. You see random flashes, but you're not getting it. No one's afraid of, I don't think anyone's afraid of Jacksonville or Houston. Like, again, good opponents. They're not doormats, but no one's afraid of them. I think teams are a little worried about having to play San Francisco in Levi Stadium all playoffs long. Like, that is not going to be fun. And we've already seen it. Dallas went there, got their brakes beat off. I mean, the Niners went to Philadelphia, beat the brakes off the Eagles. I mean, we see, they had their 3-game skid kind of in the middle of the season, and then the ship got corrected, and they haven't looked back. Like, it is, and I think Vegas has it the same way, but the Niners are clearly the odds-on favorite to not only make it, but win the Super Bowl this year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's pretty spot on there. Well, any other thoughts?
I'm surprised Kevin didn't want to get into Pine and Shine recap.
No, we'll get to that.
almost immediately.
In due time, dude. In due time. I am not a first timer who can't control myself here. I'm going to let this ride out, and we will build for the escalation before I just kind of, have my heyday.
On that note, let's go ahead and head right on into the Pine and Shine recap.
You know what? Why don't we skip this recap? Let's just go to the Thursday night game.
That's a great idea, Alex. I think you're right. Maybe some Thursday night football is right where we need to just head to. So.
I spent the last 14 weeks getting my teeth kicked in by both you jerk offs. Like, the least you're gonna do is give me my 30 seconds of airtime saying, I told you I'd make a comeback.
All right.
You did.
Pine and Shine recap. And there we go. Actually, hang on here. We're gonna get this right. There we go. Okay. So everybody having a pretty darn solid Pine deal here. Alex, why don't you go ahead and kick the tires first?
Yeah, I don't feel bad. Like I wasn't right, but I wasn't wrong on two of my picks here. Joe Mixon came in just about where he was supposed to be. Trey McBride did well. Didn't actually finish higher than tight end 5, which is crazy, but outscored what he was projected. So that one kind of hurt me. But DJ Moore, who crazy ending in that Chicago Bears game. If he would have come down with that touchdown, probably would be talking a different game here, or talking about a different score. But he did not have a great game. So
it was Mooney who dropped the Hail Mary, though. It wasn't Moore.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. I got that. Darnell Mooney versus DJ Moore. I got my wrong DMs. My bad. Anyways,
you slide out of those DMs.
I will slide out of those DMs because DJ Moore didn't do anything. So gave me a solid week. Not a great week, but a solid week, right? It was a net positive.
Right. I had a fairly decent week on the Pines, right? Travis Etienne missed his projections. Stephon Diggs missed his projections. Sam Laporta, he showed out. Definitely hurt me there a little bit. All right, Kevin, take it away.
Hard when the guy scores 3 touchdowns.
Right. True.
Pines this week. Javonte didn't do squat against the Lions. Big points on that one. Mike Evans, I was getting a little worried watching this game, thinking that Mike Evans might kind of do me in here, but it was points wise, he was there. But there were enough wide receivers who had better weeks that I ended up taking the win on that one. And Travis Kelce finished at the bottom of tight end 2. That was a big one. So that makes me 9 for my last 9.
That does. You're right.
So I was pretty happy about that. Now, my Pines have been solid here, right? Like, we can all agree on that. My Pines have been solid. It's my Shines that have been a little shaky and where I've been giving up a ton of points here. So, started out good, feel okay about this, but it was really what did me in was the other side of the ball.
All right, let's go ahead and head on in here to the Shine recap.
I'd rather not.
All right. Yours wasn't near as bad as mine, so go right ahead.
So James Conner did actually outperform what he was projected, which I felt like that I was playing with house money there. You knew that they weren't going to be able to throw the ball very much against San Francisco, so you take the running game. Zay Flowers, on the other hand, did nothing.
Did you dirty?
Did real bad for me, and hurt everything because Tucker Kraft actually again came through. Outscored his projection, outscored his point total, and got me a net positive. But Zay Flowers really did me in there. Minus 88 from Zay Flowers to get me minus 48 overall on the Shine.
I just put up, could have probably picked any 3 different players and would have had a better result here.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Well, Breece Hall had a rough go of it. Michael Gallup, that was just a moonshot there, hoping for big money there. And then Logan Thomas also not having a very good one. So that might have been the very worst Shine performance of the season there. So Kevin, take it away.
I got you, man. Jaylen Warren just got us there against the Colts, mainly because other running backs didn't do what they were supposed to do and put up more points. But Jaylen Warren barely got me there, but it counts as the win. Noah Brown, nice big week here, kind of being the only show in town for Houston. Got me a nice 39-point cushion. And then David Njoku. And really, this one was all about the points. This is about the fact that Joe Flacco is feeding David Njoku right now. So love to see that back to back 6 for 6 weeks. And I'm feeling really good about myself because we have a new leader in the clubhouse, ladies and gentlemen. It took 14 weeks, right? Like, go back to the top. Week 1, I was the best of the worst of us, right? As we were trying to figure out what all this was actually doing. And then kind of stumbled along the way and worked our way through. And Derek had a massive week 2, and we went, holy crap, you can score a lot of points doing this. And then Alex went on a string of positive
look
points.
At that. From week 6 to week 14. That's 2 solid months there of positives.
Yep. String of positive points. And then Daddy comes home with back-to-back 150-point plus weeks. I didn't know that this was possible. Like I was saying all season long, I got to do better. I got to do better. And holy crap, did I finally get it right here. And now I got to hold on. I got 3 weeks left. I got to maintain.
I think what's important to note, though, there is that while it is possible to score 150 points, it is also possible to lose 130 points in the process. So what 1 week is good, it does not guarantee success in the next.
No, it does not whatsoever. So gotta keep it up. But I've been fighting like hell trying to get caught back up to you guys. So I appreciate y'all for having a down week and make me feel better about myself, because I'm finally feeling like I have something down here.
Kevin texted the group chat. What was that? Was that yesterday or was that this morning?
It was this morning.
He was like, hey, I had to have done good on the Pine and Shine, right? I had to have done good.
Yeah, it's like I felt pretty good about this week. Like, I do all right. Derek was working. I check it and update. I'm like, okay, no big deal. Like, we'll check it when we get to the show. Like, blah blah blah. And then he shot it out this afternoon. Holy shit! Like, here we go.
Right.
Basically, what Kevin did was hit a star in Mario Kart, while Derek and I have been blue shelled.
Yeah, he hit it at the same time. No, he didn't hit just a star. He hit that bullet thing that zips you around the track, while the rest of us got lightning and blue shelled all at the same time. So, congratulations on your bullet train lightning power up there.
Like, here we go.
Exactly. No, all right.
All the younger viewers are like, "What are these guys talking about?"
Look, Mario Kart's still a thing. It's still very much
Switch,
a thing,
bro. Still on the Switch. It's out there.
It's very fun on the Switch, in fact.
Yes, it is. All right. We do have a couple of questions coming in on the IG.
Young kids, man, you can't beat that.
All right. So, first questions we've ever had on IG. So let's go ahead and hit these ones up here. Fit for Life asking Kincaid or Schultz this week.
I'm going Schultz this week. I like the fact that it doesn't really matter who's playing quarterback in Houston. Obviously, we want CJ Stroud to be there coming back from concussion protocol, but even without CJ Stroud, Schultz is going to be a big part of this offense. We don't know if Nico Collins is going to come back this week. We know Tank Dell is out for the season. Targets have to go somewhere, and the Texans are in win now mode. They're not a running football team, so Schultz will get peppered with targets. Would not surprise me if he sees, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 targets, comes down with 8 of those grabs, call it 75 yards, and you hope he falls into the end zone. Like, I mean, you could see 15 to 21 points out of Dalton Schultz in a full point PPR and feel pretty good about yourself in the semis.
I will add to this. I mean, I can understand the hesitancy between, one or the other, because you are going up. Schultz is going up against the Browns. Browns defense has been pretty nasty this year, particularly their pass rush, right? So that does bode well for, quick outs, quick hits to receivers. Generally, those are tight ends. that are getting those quick routes. Kincaid, meanwhile, Derek, would you mind telling me what Dalton Kincaid did for you this last week in the home league?
0 points.
Yeah, on 2 targets, 0 catches on 2 targets. And I saw that he's listed as he's on the injury report. Now the Bills haven't really done anything so far this week. But in fact, I'm not even sure that they actually practiced. I think if they would have practiced, Kincaid would, I think, have been a limited participant. So I think that I think Schultz is the way to go here. But because it's a short week, right? For Kincaid, they're playing on Saturday. Bills Chargers, yeah. Schultz is the play.
Best way for Buffalo to keep winning is to continue to feed James Cook.
Yeah,
and we talked about this pre-show too. Anybody who watches the Bills has to clearly see that they are 10 times the team when they decide to give James Cook the ball and let him be dynamic. He has done a really good job, and better than I thought he would do here this season, with going between the tackles. He's not just getting to the outside and going, right? He's being able to get those hard yards in between the tackles, and then you put him in the slot and he's running wide receiver routes, right? That's a Kincaid route where he caught his touchdown last week against the Cowboys. That's a tight end route. That's a slot receiver route. You go up there and little fake post corner route, and Allen just lofted it up out there, and all James Cook had to do was stick his hands out and make sure he didn't drop it. So one of those things. And another thing about Buffalo, Dawson Knox is back.
Right.
Like it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it takes Kincaid off the field at certain times.
Right.
Right. Where he had the entire show to himself. Now he doesn't have the entire show to himself, which he's still a better receiving option than Dawson Knox, but sometimes you're just not on the field for that, as they're trying to sub players in and out. They're not asking him to overexert himself and then losing some targets. And when you drop 2 in the first 2 drives of a game, you have the potential to lose your quarterback's trust for a little bit. And then Buffalo realized they didn't need to pass the ball against Dallas. They were just going to run it down their throat.
Right. So one thing too, the Fit for Life is mentioned there as well, is that they are the underdog this week. So going to need upside. Does that change your thought process between Kincaid or Schultz? I'm very much in the Schultz camp on that one.
Yeah. On this one, not at all.
All right. Unanimous decision there. Fit for Life. It is Dalton Schultz would be the way we'd roll. Next question. Same from Fit for Life as well. Eckler or Ty Chandler this week? I'm going to roll Ty Chandler. I think that's what I got to do. It's close, but I'm going to roll Ty Chandler.
I think so too. I can't trust anything that the Chargers are doing right now. And Buffalo's on a mission. If Allen can't go, who do you think the Bills are going to focus their attention on? Right? It's going to be Austin Eckler and getting after Easton Stick. Right? And we saw how non-impressive he was as they were getting the brakes beat off of him by the Raiders. So I think it's Ty Chandler. Agree with Derek. If you need upside, I think that's where you're going. I do not think you're going to see the time machine resort back, a year or 2 years even for Eckler, where you're going to see him have 15 targets, 11 catches, 102 yards and 2 scores. Like that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think I lean Ty Chandler too. Again, Buffalo's defense. Hey, real quick, Derek, I guess go ahead. You said Ty Chandler too, right? Mm-hmm. We're all in agreement there.
Unanimous. Okay. Dalton Schultz, Ty Chandler. It's unanimous.
All right. So at Jay Kuda on Twitter, who is a great Twitter follow if you don't follow him, just for random sports oddities and silliness. He tweeted out today, and you guys will get a kick out of this. Easton Stick was just the 4th player to start at quarterback for the Chargers since Drew Brees left after the 2005 season.
If Philip Rivers didn't miss time.
That span covers 18 years and exactly 300 games. The Chargers have had 4 people start at quarterback for the last 18 years and 300 games.
And how many playoff wins do they have?
Well, that is also crazy. But here's the crazy part.
Like they've had more. I mean, they're like many other teams. They've had more starting quarterbacks than playoff wins.
Well, the Browns have had 4 different players start at quarterback in October.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, the Vikings are going to do it here in December.
That's just an insane stat. Like, I think that's actually insane. That's actually insane. You've had 4 dudes start at quarterback in 18 years. The Browns had 4 dudes start at quarterback in 1 month.
Can you name all 4?
I can name 3. Watson.
No, not the Browns. The
4 Chargers quarterbacks. Yes. Phil. Was it Geno? Is it Geno? Then Herbert? Then Stick?
Tyrod.
I'm sorry, not Geno. Tyrod. I know that the team doctor tried to kill him.
Punctured lung thing.
Yeah,
that
led to Herbo.
Yeah, that was the weirdest set of circumstances. But yeah, that's crazy. I mean, and you like to feel that with that stability at quarterback for an organization, you could do that.
It's funny is I'm more confident naming the 4 Chargers quarterbacks over the last 18 years than I have the 4 Browns quarterbacks over the last month. I don't know that I don't think I know who the 4th one is.
Real quick, while you're thinking on that, Fit for Life had one other question come through here. If Madison starts, are we still on the Ty Chandler side?
If Madison starts, he probably doesn't have that long of a leash.
He probably doesn't, but it's probably just enough that it eats into it.
With what the Chargers were doing with Josh Kelly and Spiller and then Eckler, I mean, I still would rather have Ty Chandler. There's a better chance that the Vikings are in this game than the Chargers are going to be in their game against Buffalo.
Facts.
And I think Ty Chandler starts. Like, he was more dynamic. He's a little bit more versatile. Like, Madison just has not been running well. His feet have been stuck in concrete. He has not done a good job taking this lead role and making it his own. Now, not that Dalvin Cook was going to be a better option for them. And obviously the price tag that Dalvin Cook was asking for is something that the Vikings didn't want to do. They needed to spend money elsewhere. So I understand the business side of things, but I think it's Ty Chandler. I think he did enough last game that it absolutely warrants a second act.
I think I have to agree with you. I mean, regardless, even if it's, Madison, even if it's Eckler, even if it's Ty Chandler, I mean, we're talking about guys that are probably back end RB2s as a ceiling shot here, right? Like, these are guys that probably RB22 on the week is probably the ceiling that we're getting out of all of them. And at that point, I think Ty Chandler gives you a better floor, potential higher upside on the ceiling shot of all 3 of those guys there. So any other thoughts on that one?
Nah, I'm in agreement.
Alex, I stalled for you to try and think of the 4th. Did you get it?
Oh no, I stopped thinking about it. It was Flacco, Watson, AOC, which don't ask me to say is that Aiden O'Connell something.
That's a Raiders quarterback.
Oh,
yep.
Son of a gun, you're right.
DTR.
Yes,
yep.
The other 3 name. And Johnny Manziel. I don't know. Who is the 4th one?
Did you just say that that Aiden O'Connell has 3 names on the on there? Is that what I was hearing?
I thought
yes, that's
did.
What you heard.
Oh,
okay.
Who's the
Kevin,
4th Browns quarterback?
If you've got it, go ahead and throw it out there. I would have to look it up.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I don't feel so stupid now.
No, it's a Browns quarterback. It's not fantasy relevant, so I don't. Like, even with Watson, it wasn't overly fantasy relevant, but crap, at least Flacco's been. Like, he's been a kind of a little shot in the arm.
Oh, PJ Walker, son of a gun.
Yep, that was it.
I did cheat. I looked that up.
Nah, that's okay.
There you go.
There's too many letters. DTR, PJ Walker. Doesn't matter. This poor team is this team had all the promise at the beginning of the season, and
they're still second in the AFC North. They're 9-5.
I know, but is anybody a believer? Is anybody a believer? Like you feel like if you go up against the Browns, and Flacco's changing that a little bit, but for the most part, you feel like if you go against the Browns and you can get 17 points, you're going to win that game.
They're 9-5. Like they haven't. When's the last time the Browns have made the playoffs? They haven't been relevant.
When Baker took them, and then Baker got shipped out of town for his efforts.
Right. Okay. And how long ago was that?
3 years.
Sooner than the Broncos have been in the playoffs. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, if you're telling me. But anyways, like the Browns have had every reason to not be in the playoff discussion, and yet here they are, 4 games above 500.
Defense is legit, man. I mean,
defense is legit.
And the offensive line is good. Like, they have a lot going for them. They had bad injuries in key spots, and it's just that stuff's hard to overcome. I mean, depth can only get you so far. You still need your stars at the top of the lineup.
And to answer your question, last time they were in the playoffs, it was 2020.
No, it wasn't a real year.
I said 3 years.
Yeah.
I know. I said that wasn't a real year.
Oh, stop it. Just because no one was at the stadium to witness it doesn't mean
it. Did we just stumble into if a tree falls in the forest type of
exactly
philosophical question there? So
exactly.
All right.
It wasn't. Realistically though, that wasn't a real year. Man, it was so weird.
All righty. Well, let's go ahead and get into some Thursday night football. Thursday night football, we got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are favored by 4. The over-under is 44.5. Thoughts on this one?
All right, I'll start. I don't know. You know me. I've been hitting the over pretty hard on all these Thursday night games. It hits sometimes, not always. I'm going to take the Rams -4. I don't know if Olave's going. I don't trust anything. Saints are probably feeling pretty good about themselves after taking down the Italian Stallion last week. But I'm going to take the Rams -4, but I will take the under. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this one.
I'm going to co-sign with you. I'm taking the Rams to cover here. I think 44 is a bit much. I don't see the Saints scoring that much. And the Rams can, but overall, the Saints are solid defensively. They're not great, but they're very solid. So I think we're looking at something like a 21-17 type ball game.
Yeah. I've also got the Rams and the under here as well, which for anybody out there watching, when all 3 of us agree on it, you should probably do the opposite.
Fade. For the record, I actually don't mind this, the Tommy DeVito or his agent. I think it's fun. And why not have some fun?
Oh, yeah, that New York market needs something to latch onto and enjoy.
They're eating it up.
God knows they can't watch football and have any sort of confidence right now.
Right.
So I'm all about it. I think that's fun. Let's do player props. I'm going to take Alvin Kamara under 52.5 rushing yards in this game.
Fair enough. I'm taking Kyron Williams under 3.5 receptions.
All righty. I did not take a running back. I'm going to take Derek Carr to go under 229.5 passing yards in this one. Almost said David Carr, and that would be sure to hit.
That would. That's free money right there.
They're still peeling him off of a floor in Houston somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah. Although he does have a Super Bowl ring.
Right. And then he has his crappy hot takes on NFL Network or wherever he's at these days.
So, all righty. There's the Thursday night football thoughts for y'all out there. Any other thoughts? We ready to get into this week's Pines and Shines?
Moving on.
All right.
Got to protect.
Now we need to get back in it here.
Yep. All right, back to
off the schneid.
All right, so it's the time for the pine and the shine, and we're going to start off with the pines. The pines, of course, are guys we think are going to miss their projections here. We'll start off with the running backs. Alex, go ahead and kick us off here.
I'm going to take Raheem Mostert this week. And you're probably asking yourself, well, why would you take Raheem Mostert? Well, they are playing Dallas. Dallas's defense is pretty good. But this pick will make sense when I reveal who my shine is, because I don't think it's going to be Raheem this week. He's projected to finish RB6 with 14.2 points.
I'm saying Pine Travis Etienne. It's just been kind of on a schneid lately here. I just think it's ranked a little bit too high. He's coming in the week at RB12, projected total of 14.3. I think he struggles to get there.
Fair enough. I'm going to take Bijan Robinson, who has an Arthur Smith problem, and that's not going to rectify itself here this week. Bijan projected to be running back 10. Also projected to do about 13.7 points here in half-point PPR scoring. And, yeah, he's got an Arthur Smith problem, man. Like that just is not going away, and that's not going to rectify itself. And while everybody out there looks at that and goes, oh, my gosh, this matchup is juicy because Indianapolis gives up the third most fantasy points to opposing fantasy running backs, Carolina gave up 1 million points to opposing fantasy running backs, and Bijan didn't do anything there either. Again, see that Arthur Smith problem. All right, let's go ahead and move on to wide receivers, or I'll keep talking about the Arthur Smith problem in Atlanta.
Sure, no problem. All right, my wide receiver, I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk, because I don't actually know if I know why. I'm going to take Brandon Ayuk this week. He is slated to finish wide receiver 12 with 13.3 points. Niners are playing, he said, stalling to try and remember who they're playing this week.
Baltimore,
that stingy Baltimore defense. That's right. We just talked about it for like a long time. So I'm going to take Ayuk here. I think Baltimore's defense has a game plan to limit what San Francisco can do. I think they're going to try to take away one aspect of the game. I'll take the passing game away. Also, I don't think Brock Purdy's that good. Just throw that shot out there.
Your MVP of the league isn't that good?
He shouldn't be. I don't think he is. I'm Team Tyreek for MVP.
I would love to see Tyreek get MVP.
I think he should.
I would love to see or McCaffrey.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah. I would love to see a skill position get MVP. Don't get me wrong. But as far as if it's going to be the quarterback award,
he's
hard pressed.
No, you could put Zach Wilson with that talent around him, and he's going to be good.
We'll agree to not agree.
They had Jimmy G, and
what did he do? He come to the freaking playoffs, like the last round of the playoffs. It's going to be okay. He's got talent around him.
MVP level, not the fact that you have
Anyways, I don't think Brock Purdy's that good.
4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, or the fact that you have a completion percentage just below 70%. Like, you still have to get the ball to your playmakers.
Yes. I will plant my flag on. I don't think Brock Purdy's that good.
Oh my God, you sound like a scorned Cowboys fan. You've been living in Texas too long.
I don't even listen to Cowboys radio.
I'm just saying, it's just bred into y'all down there.
You know what it is? No, it's freaking he took the job from my boy. That's what happened.
Your boy who's in Dallas?
Yeah, he is now. Got run out of town.
Oh my gosh, he was never good to begin with.
Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some pines and some shines.
I'm
taking. I'm
Brandon
moving
Ayuk,
on.
12,
You said Ayuk.
13.3.
I'm gonna say Jalen Waddle. Tyreek's gonna come back for this Cowboys game, so Waddle's gonna go back to playing the secondary role, if you will. And this year, in that secondary role, Waddle has not been averaging 12.7 points a game. It's been a lot closer to 10.2. Coming up, Cowboys team licking their wounds a little bit here. Back-to-back road games, which does worry me for this Cowboys defense, but they have responded well to the losses so far this season, so I expect them to do what they can to get right and atone for their embarrassing performance against the Buffalo Bills. So Jalen Waddle's wide receiver 15, projected total of 12.7. I don't think he gets there this week.
Fair enough. I'm going to take Puka Nacua for to miss his projections. Currently projected wide receiver 13.2 points here in this week. But going up against a tough Saints defense, Saints giving up the 6th fewest points to opposing fantasy wide receivers. So there's some of that. There's some of the fact that the Rams offense have kind of shifted here lately, and Puka's not seeing the volume that we certainly saw him getting early on this season. And now that high water mark for reception seems to be 4 to 5 receptions a game instead of the 7-8 that we were seeing earlier. So I think the Puka has a bit of a rough go here. All right, tight ends.
All right, my tight end. I'm going to take Isaiah Likely going up against that San Francisco defense. He is projected tight end 9 with 8.8 points. I do think points are going to be hard to come by in that game. I think it should be a good football game, but I think points are going to be hard to come by.
So over the last 4 weeks, only 4, if I'm counting correctly, 1, 2, 3, 4 tight ends have averaged over 15 points a game. Trivia question: can you name them?
Laporta.
Yes.
Is Ferguson on that list?
No.
I'm guessing Likely is one of them.
See?
Yeah.
Laporta, David Njoku, Trey McBride.
Yep.
Isaiah Likely.
Which scoring format were you looking at, though?
This is
a full point or half
full
point?
Yeah, this is a full point where I pulled that off of.
Fair enough.
Nevertheless, I found it very entertaining.
Yeah. Fair enough. All righty, Alex. Well, it's one of those that you could see just, runs do come to an end. So maybe Alex is jumping on the early run bandwagon there.
Nah, I think he has a tough week too. I just found it to be an interesting stat that we're not seeing TJ Hawkinson. We're not seeing Travis Kelce. Obviously, it couldn't be Goddard because he was hurt. Schultz couldn't be because he got hurt. Ferguson's had a down couple weeks. All these guys who started out so hot on, right? Like, I mean, this cast of characters who have propelled you into the fantasy playoffs were either late round picks or undrafted as far as fantasy rosters go, right? And they have emerged. This goes back to our general stance of it's okay to stream tight ends. Like, we apologize for the Travis Kelce or bust mantra during draft season. The stars still should have aligned that Kelce should have had a much better year, but the Chiefs are not following well with that game plan. So going back to old steady, you can wait on tight end.
Yeah. Although Travis Kelce still having the most fantasy points average per game right now. Maybe not in total points, but still slight an edge on average.
But if you ask any Kelce owner, do they feel are they happy?
Right.
It doesn't matter if he's averaged the most points. Do you feel good about having him on your roster right now?
No, because you had to draft him in the same draft capital that you would have had to take, the AJ Browns, the Keenan Allens, the Amon-Ra's of the world, and
you could have had CeeDee Lamb or AJ Brown instead, and you'd be feeling much better about yourself right now.
Yeah. Because you're getting on average another 5-6 points a game out of that draft pick, and 5-6 points a game and half point type of scoring. That's a big deal out of those types of things. So facts.
Yes, all the things. So sorry, derailed for half a second. I am going to say my pine this week. It's going to be Jake Ferguson of the Cowboys. Again, bit of a slump. He's coming in at tight end 8, projected total of 9.2. I think he gets close to this, right? Like this is kind of one of those dangerous picks where I'm not as confident as on this pick as I've been on some of my others here the last couple weeks, but nevertheless, it's kind of been the CeeDee Lamb show, a little bit of Brandon Cooks. They're trying to get Pollard and Dowdle going, but how do you respond? And right now, Ferguson just has not been seeing those end zone targets. And throughout the game, him catching 4 balls for, 35 yards is not cutting the mustard.
Fair enough. I'm going to take Travis Kelce to miss his projection. Currently the tight end 1, 11.5 points projected this week. And going up on what should seemingly be a decent matchup here, going up against the Raiders. The Raiders give up their bottom third in as far as points allowed to the, I guess, a top third in fewest points allowed to opposing fantasy tight ends. So a little bit tougher at the position there. The Chiefs offense kind of spinning their wheels just a little bit here, and I think some of that's continuing on. So looking for Travis Kelce to miss his projection this week. All right, let's head into the shines. And the shines, of course, are guys that we think are going to outperform their projections. Alex, go ahead and start us off here with the running backs.
All right, so I said that Raheem Mostert was going to be my pine this week, and that's because I'm taking Devon Achane to be my shine. He is projected running back 20 with 12.8 points.
Fair enough. One thing that we're starting to see with this Chiefs offense a little bit more and more is Jerick McKinnon becoming more involved. And this is kind of exactly what they did this time last year, preparing for the playoffs and having McKinnon kind of dust him off as you pull him off the shelf, or however you want to say that, to become relevant for this Chiefs offense. We're starting to see that again. So I'm going to take Jerick McKinnon as my shine of the week. He's running back 35 with a projected point total of only 4.2. So really safe floor on this one, but the sky could be the limit here to have a big week on this one player.
Fair enough. I like it. I'm going to go with Chuba Hubbard to be my shine of the week. Currently the running back 22, going up against Green Bay. Green Bay has been a forgiving defense when it comes to opposing running backs, allowing the 6th most fantasy points to opposing fantasy running backs. Chuba Hubbard has also been on a tear lately, averaging over 20 opportunities per game the last 3 games, and has eclipsed 100 yards in 2 of those 3 games there as well. He finds the end zone. We're looking at a RB1 type of finish this week, and I think that they have a good shot of that one. So Chuba Hubbard, looking for him to have a good game. Let's go ahead and move to the wide receivers.
Sorry, I was muted there. I'm going to take a call that you guys helped me out with last week, actually. And I'm going to hope that lightning strikes twice here. I'm going to go Amari Cooper, projected 21, wide receiver 21, with 11.5 points.
Fair enough. It's going to be really tough for Michael Pittman Jr. to come back for the Colts here this week as he's going through concussion protocol. More players have missed the following week than not. So I'm going to go off of that trend and say Josh Downs has a big week for the Colts as he kind of fills in some of that target volume that Pittman vacates. He's currently wide receiver 37 with a projected total of 6.9. So I think we're going to see Downs be pretty active here in this Colts offensive game plan, especially if Michael Pittman can't go.
Fair enough. I'm going to take T. Higgins as my shine. Currently, the wide receiver 20, projected to do about 11.9 points this week. Now, we just saw Jamar Chase exit the last game. Does not look like he's going to really go in this one. So I think that this is one of those we can see T. Higgins take take on kind of that wide receiver 1 role here in Cincinnati. Looking for him to have a big game this week. Let's head to the tight ends.
All right. I have Tyler Higbee. Who knows what's going to happen in that game? But Higbee is tight end 26 with 5 points. If he can find his way into the end zone, that would be good. That's 2.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to take Dalton Schultz this week. Going back to kind of the beginning of the show and what we were talking about, I expect Schultz to be peppered with targets this week. He's coming in at tight end 17, which I think is crazy low this week. Yes, they're playing the Browns, but nevertheless, he should do better than that just on merit alone. Projected total of only 6.8, so I feel like this is a pretty safe floor that's easily obtainable for Schultz.
Fair enough. I'm going to take Michael Mayer. Coming off a pretty good game this last week here. Again, this is one of those, I think we can probably see him find the end zone on this one. Currently the tight end 27, projected to about 5 points. And I think we can see him outshine that one. Any other thoughts here on the Pines and the Shines?
Should be another fun one.
All righty.
I find it happening more often than not, where I have I'm old moments. I don't know if you guys have had these.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. Anyways,
you got like 7 years, and then you can come talk to us.
I am literally a year younger than you.
No, you're not. But keep playing. But keep saying you are.
2 years. Yeah. Okay, I'm like 2 years younger than you. Anyways, so.
Kids add 5 years apiece.
Playing, that's fair. That's very fair. Playing right now in Frisco, Texas, is Marshall and UTSA. Do you know who the quarterback is for Marshall? Go ahead. Tell me any quarterback who's ever been the quarterback for Marshall.
Byron Leftwich.
Hold on. What did you say, Derek?
Chad Pennington next.
Byron Leftwich.
He said Byron Leftwich. There you go. There's 2 in less than 2 seconds.
Okay. Do you know who the current quarterback is?
No, don't care.
Pennington.
It is a Pennington. It's Chad Pennington's freaking son playing quarterback for Marshall right now in a bowl game.
We're gonna send you. We're gonna send you to trivia school for next week.
That's wild. Yeah. Anyways, I'm old.
He's all bummed. He's like, dang, these guys knew this.
Right?
No, I'm thrilled that you knew it. I'm happy.
Chad Pennington.
It just caught me by surprise that Chad Pennington, A, has a kid that's in college, and B, his kid went to Marshall and is playing for them.
Here's a really easy one for you. Who was Chad Pennington's star wide receiver at Marshall?
I do know that one. Who had a better NFL career too?
Correct. You can say it. Go on. Randy Moss. You're right. So, anyway.
Randy Moss made Chad Pennington a first-round draft pick, I think. And Chad Pennington was good. But I think Randy Moss made him a first-round draft pick.
Maybe.
Probably something to that. It doesn't help that he went to the Jets and was lost in a barren wasteland.
Yeah. And then to the Dolphins for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Right. So,
I'm not going to pretend like I have all this vast Chad Pennington knowledge. I did just look him up really quick to make sure. I don't just have Chad Pennington knowledge stuck in my brain.
Flowing golden locks of Chad Pennington.
Oh, that's fun.
Anyways, looks like there was a good football game. It doesn't look like it's a good football game anymore. It's starting to get out of hand up there.
Once upon a time, they played a good football game. And then
did the Avs win?
The Avs lost. Third period goal from the
Blackhawks?
Yeah.
Oh, barf.
It's a questionable penalty in the third period called against the Avalanche, and the Blackhawks scored on that ensuing power play. And then they lost.
Rigged. System's rigged against us.
We
need to contact our senator and have them
open up
sue the NHL.
Yes.
Oh, how it comes full circle.
Yeah. We should go.
Well, I was going to say, any other thoughts or anything else we want to chat about tonight?
Nah.
Off topic, but did you guys see Dylan Raiola flipped from Georgia to Nebraska?
Yeah. I heard his dad went to Nebraska.
So his dad's a legacy
thing, right?
Yeah,
okay.
His dad's a legacy there, and his uncle is on the offensive coaching staff. Like the kid has
Nebraska?
At Nebraska. The kid has tons of ties to it, tons.
So not super weird, not out of left field. Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. And again, reading a bunch of the Georgia Homer stuff, there were people talking about this 2 months ago. Like signing day is too far away. Like he's spending too much time in Lincoln. Like everybody kind of saw it coming. But as soon as Carson Beck announced, I'm going to come back and play the 2024 season at Georgia, 15 minutes later, Dylan Raiola was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go to Nebraska.
Wow, that's what that Texas quarterback, right? He was the third in line behind Ewers and Arch. He's like, I'm out. I'm not even going to stick around for the semifinal. I'm going to go find a new home.
You can't, otherwise you miss the window.
Right.
Right. So part of it is how the NCAA sets that up, which I think it's unfortunate for the kids in these playoff games. Like,
yes.
It is unfortunate for them. So I don't know that's going to get any better with the 12 team. Like you're just going to have more teams.
No, I think they need
having players.
Yeah, I think they need to adjust their calendar.
That would mean the NCAA would have to think about someone besides themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
They're too. Never mind. I'm not going to get into that at the end of the show. I'm just. This is me showing reserve. Look at that.
Well done. Maturity.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and just wrap it up then with final thoughts. I'm not seeing any other questions come in there, so let's go final thoughts. We'll call it a night.
Best of luck in your semis or second week of first round, which I think for most of those leagues are still semis. Like it's all weird how it's broken up here now in this week, but good luck to everybody. If you have any lineup questions, feel free to hit us up. We'll be happy to assist where we can.
Work League is going into quarterfinals, which I qualified for that. I'm not going to make any noise.
You guys play 18?
Playing 18. Much like
who set
much
that
like
up?
my golf game. It's been a long running league that I joined. So I don't really have much say in it. Not as much as I did when I rose a stink in the home league about playing the final week of the season.
Listen, just because you got Matt Flynn.
Shut your mouth with Matt Flynn. I don't want to hear that name anymore.
You will never live that down, by the way. You will always hear the glory of Matt Flynn and his career game.
Matt Flynn gave us Russell Wilson.
Yes, he did. See, like he's the gift that just keeps on giving for fantasy.
Just saying. Matt Flynn is the reason that Russell Wilson is a thing.
There we go. You know what? I think for championship week, we'll have to regale everybody with the story, the epic struggle and the epic saga of the Matt Flynn.
That happened while I was at a Broncos game. It was a very cold game. I believe that game was.
It didn't get any better in your fantasy game either.
I think that was the 9-6 game. Oh, I think that if memory serves me correct, that was the Chiefs. It was the Kyle Orton versus Tim Tebow, Chiefs versus Broncos.
9-6, yeah.
9-6, and the Broncos made the playoffs that year. Maybe that wasn't. That might not have been the same year. I think I'm getting my years mixed up. Anyways, the Broncos made the playoffs that year because the Chargers choked in the last week. And then
story of their 18-year journey with only 4 quarterbacks.
Come back. And then old Tebow beat Ben Roethlisberger in the playoffs. Remember when Tebow beat Ben Roethlisberger in the playoffs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Terry.
Alex managed to stall long enough for Terry.
Awesome. Hey, Terry.
All right, so Terry, with the with the questionnaire. Full PPR. Got to pick 2. Walker, Ridley, Puka, Chuba, Amari Cooper, Jaden Reed. Man. Terry always comes with the hard ones. Terry, just once I would like an easy one.
I think for me, Reed is out this week with this heel injury. Like, I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like. If he was healthy, I think he might be one of the guys I absolutely pick because he's been so involved in that Packers offense. And this is Kenneth Walker, right? Am I reading this the same that you guys?
It is.
Okay.
Because I think
if you need the upside, I'm going Puka, and I'm adding him to that. And I know Derek was a little bearish on him on the Pine list, but if you need a week, Puka has the biggest upside out of anybody on this roster.
Right. The ceiling plays there for him. I will say that. I'm not a fan of matchup, fan of what we've been seeing there. But you're right. The ceiling plays much higher for him than anybody else.
And I don't mind Amari Cooper with the way Flacco's been playing. Like, I'm not afraid of that unless you feel like Walker or Chuba have a substantially better opportunity.
Good
thing
Panthers
about the
are at home against the Pack. I think I'm Kenneth Walker and Puka.
The good thing about Seattle in general is that they're fighting for their playoff lives. So they're gonna just be doing everything they can to continue to win games and sneak into the wild card.
Right. Now, on this one, I think if I need a ceiling play, it's Ridley and Puka, right? The ceiling's highest for those two guys. If I'm needing more of a floor play, Chuba and Cooper are my 2 picks there. So that's kind of how I'd roll that one.
I can get on board with that.
Okay. Any other thoughts on the pick 2?
No.
Okay. Full point, pick 1, Zeke, Puka, Walker, Chuba, Sutton.
Right.
What's that? Been hearing things. Am I having a stroke?
No, I think it's still Puka here.
Yeah, the upside is Puka. Floor, I think, is Sutton. Zeke could actually probably give you a decent floor here as well, but the Denver defense has been much better.
Dude, that power run game, though, right? Like this is the problem, and teams haven't really done it to them since the Dolphins game, or haven't been able to. But the power run game, Denver does struggle against, and that is basically all the Patriots have. It's not like they're airing it out. I think I'm going Puka. If I'm picking one, I'm picking Puka.
Yeah.
I'm going down with the big gun.
There you go. Ceiling shot, Puka. Floor shot, Chuba is the way I go. Alex, any thoughts on that one?
No, we like Puka.
Okay. Olave or Chandler? For me, it's Chandler.
Chandler. I don't know if Olave is playing yet.
If Olave is playing, I'm going Olave.
Okay. Stafford or Purdy? I got to roll Purdy with the way he's playing. And the Niners offense. Like, there's Alex can Purdy all he wants, but for
fantasy, yes. He's been great because he gets those points when the other people do the work.
All righty. Any final thoughts out there? Or any additional final thoughts out there? We'll call it a night.
Nope, I'm good.
All righty. Well, guys, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back on Friday night with the Fantasy Football Weekly Huddle, Bet Set Snap, 11 p.m. Eastern for that show. Kevin and I'll break down the entire slate of games, rock and roll through that one. Always a lot of fun on that one. And then we'll be back live 11 p.m. Eastern on the Tuesday as well with the whole crew, and we'll get that rocking and rolling. We'll see if Alex and I can't catch Kevin here, and I see if I can't jump back to the top of the leaderboard on the Pine and Shine here. So, and William saying deuces, peace, all that good stuff. All right, so we're gonna call that a night. We'll catch y'all on the flippy flips here. Anyway, that's gonna do it for us. He's Kevin. He's Alex. I'm Derek. Have a good one. Be safe. Toodaloos.